Hey peeps, Erin Zen Warrior here. I can't seem to get my phone in the right place today, so bear with me. Why don't chase clients? I thought this was an interesting one, and it's something for the world out there to consider from the perspective of the 400 years that we are leaving, the 400 years that we are entering into, that strategy, the strategy of the last 400 years, the focus, the planning, the cross of planning that we've been in, this leftness that we've been in, that's all about focus and strategy, it's disappearing. And as a result of that, we're moving into a much more peripheral, waiting, like absorbing, passive role. And as a quad right, I play a very passive role, and some of you may laugh at that because obviously there's a lot of things in the way I run my life that's not passive. But as someone who's actually designed to be passive, receptive, absorbing, peripheral, and also someone who's designed as a projector, when I look forward to the new 400 years and people ask me, well, how do I manage the world falling apart? How do I manage this massive 400-year transition, which ultimately is going to appear like an Armageddon? And to understand the word Armageddon, it's the dissolving of the past. It's the dissolving of the last 400 years into a new cycle. And so if you look back every 400 years, you're going to see that massive things happened in 400-year cycles, and we went into new phases. And we've been in this incredibly strategic time where you could set a plan and roughly it would go quite well. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that book is an excellent version of a great strategy that worked in a left angle cross of planning. Well, good news, none of that's going to work as well anymore, right? So you're going to move forward into rightness, and you're going to realize that all your planning, all your strategy doesn't work. But there is a strategy that will work for you as an individual, and that varies depending on who you are. And in human design, we call this strategy and authority. So my strategy is, my type is a projector. As a projector, I wait. As a quad right, being passive, receptive, absorbing, being completely off the right, I radically wait. I just let my little black hole suck into the vortex, whatever is coming. And as a result of that, I don't chase clients. And one of the reasons I don't chase clients is because as a non-energy type, a projector, the other non-energy type is a reflector, to chase after something as we've been taught to, and think about the last 60 years, right? And I'm not 60, I'm 45, but think about the last 60 years. You got to go get him. You got to knock on that door. You got to push. You got to put yourself, as my parents would say, put yourself in front of them, right? And it's like, to do that, and I did do that as a teenager and as a young adult, is incredibly exhausting for a non-energy quad right? And it's to go against my strategy. It's to go against my design. And to go against your strategy is always exhausting. It actually always has been. But you've been able to put into play strategies from the left, strategies from the left angle cross of planning that have actually worked because they are background frequency supported. And so, 60, 70, 80% of the time it's worked for you, even if it was against your design. Well, as you go forward, you are going to have to become more of an intuitive Buddha. And that means you're going to have to use your system. The majority of people out there are responding generators, right? So 70% of the world is some form of generator, and they're either sacral or emotional authority. Sacral is go with your gut. It's quite quick. It's very black and white. Emotional is the color of truth is gray, and it takes me a while to make a decision. But ultimately, they're here to wait for something to respond to, and that's going to be their strategy going forward. I don't chase generators in my work, and 70% of the people that are going to come to me at least are generators, right? Sometimes I would say it's probably much higher than that because I'm a projector, so I naturally attract generators, and therein lies the trick. My strategy is to wait for recognition and wait for invitation. So I can put an advert out there so that people might recognize me. What happens then is someone reaches out to me and goes, oh, your stuff is really cool. I see you there, Anna. Your stuff is really cool. I'm really interested. And they go, I'd love to connect with you. Great. When would you like to connect? Silence. Radio silence. This is a classic one. Radio silence. Okay. I text everyone once a week on a Sunday to try and book them in. If I'm back and forthing with them, I'll text them more, of course, because I'm not an idiot and I'm not rude. But if they don't text me back, everybody's busy. I'm very understanding. I am not here to chase you. I'm a very secure person. I believe what's going to come to me is going to come to me through my strategy. So I'll give you 24 hours. If after 24 hours I see that you've read it and you haven't responded to me, I might send you a did you forget me kind of message, because that happens. Very reasonable. If I get no response, then I'm leaving it. And actually, if I get no response on that second message, I am fully leaving it. I'm not touching it again, right? So that second message could also come a week later where someone's reached out and gone, I'm really interested in a session at some point. And I just message them on the Sunday, I go, oh, I'm booking my clients. Would you like anything this week? If I get silence, I'll text them again the following Sunday. And if I get silence from then, I will ignore them until they get in touch with me. And this is so important for projectors to get, but actually all of us to some extent are radically waiting. And people who work in my industry, be it coaching of any sort, and Anna is a singing teacher, so same thing, right? And she's a projector, same thing, right? Like, don't chase them. And also, if someone really wants to do it, and they're going to be any good as a student, any good at actually honoring the money they're about to pay you and honoring the work you're about to put in, then they are going to follow up. They are going to respond to the first message most likely, unless they were busy. You know how you randomly open things because your thumbs are clumsy when you're in the car, and then you don't read the message properly, and then you think you'll come back to it later and you forget. So that does happen. But if after the second message you get nothing, these people are not going to honor your time, because they're not even polite enough to say, hey, no, thank you. You know, sorry, I need to put washer fluid in the car if you guys heard that ding. They're not even going to honor that. They're not even honoring your message enough to say, look, I've thought about it. I actually can't do it right now. Or I've thought about it. I need to get back to you. And I had a message like that this morning. Thank you, whoever that was. And that was about a reading. They're like, I'm in the middle of opening a business. I actually can't construct this into my world at the moment. And I'm like, great, get back to me. I'm a projector. I'm quad right. I don't chase anyone. Get back to me when you're ready. They have my number. I will let them get back to me. In the meantime, if you want to be reminded of who I am, you follow me on Instagram, etc., etc. If you're not that interested, you don't. Right? And that's the way I think. And there are a lot of people who follow me on Instagram and Facebook and listen to these who think, man, that girl could help me. And they don't get round to it right now. Right? Well, they're not ready. That's how I work in my head. You're not ready for this yet. That's cool. Maybe I'm not quite correct for you. You like it, but it's not quite a, you know, if you're a pure sacral responder, it's not quite a fuck yes. Cool. It's like, interesting. Cool. You know? And I mean, I do have clients who are like, yeah, you're a fuck yes and a fuck no sometimes, right? And it's like, yeah, because if you come here, it's incredibly mutational. If you come here, a spade's a bloody spade, right? And not everybody is for everybody. And so as a projector in a world full of generators, where projectors are so meant to radically wait for recognition and invitation, I do not chase my clients, because the majority of them are generators. They have more energy than I do to chase. We've been in a generator world. That's why it was go get 'em, you know? It is coming into a projector world. It is wait for your authority and your strategy to pop. And that doesn't actually matter what design you are. If you're a generator, you're waiting for that response, and then you've got the energy to chase it. And don't make a projector chase you, because we have no interest. We really don't, and we don't have the energy for it. If you're a manifestor and something intuitively inspires you and comes to you through your authority to create, you go do it. But don't run around trying to spend energy on just anything. And worse still, don't run around trying to spend energy on strategy from this last 400 years. This life that you've been born into, it's about to radically change to the point where you can trial those strategies. And I see manifestors, they can make those strategies work for them too, because they're manifestors. They can actually make a lot of things work. But to their very, very strong detriment, they get sick. They get explosive anger, has explosive disease, and vicious, you know, like you think of those not self themes as we go forward into the future. I work as a magnet for the diseased, to be honest, the diseased, and I work as a tuning fork for health. And what I can tell you is that when you are out of design, you will get sick, be it short-term or long-term sickness, be it a flu, a cough, or whatever it is. When you're not honoring yourself and your strategy and authority, you will break down, and that is going to become, and I've never said this before and it's just occurred to me, that is about to get worse. People are going to get sicker quicker by not following their strategy and authority, because the attempt to follow strategies of the old, strategies of the last 400 years, is going to be so discombobulating for them that the impact on their system and their disillusionment is going to be so much stronger. And think about what you're seeing out there. Like, I just walked past someone out of the gym and I was like, whoa, like my whole system just shifted as I observed them. I was like, whoa, that person looks like, do you remember the Terminator 2 where they push the liquid metal one into the fire? Honestly, I walked past someone today like that, and I'm not saying they were a bad person. May have sounded like that just then. But honestly, it was like they were going, and the liquid molten fucking hot stuff. And I was like, whoa. And I was like, have I always seen this? Or is this a sign of the times? I think we're going to see more of it, irrespective of what that answer is. I think we're going to see way, way more of it, because you're going to have to learn to follow your intuition. You're going to have to learn to be meditative in your life. If you're not meditating now, boy, oh boy, you better start. If you haven't had a long history of meditation behind you, there is no time like the present to get ready for what is coming, because you're going to need to be present so that you don't gaslight yourself against your own strategy and authority. And again, I go back to projectors. The only way you're going to filter the right people into your life is to step back and see who comes to you, and then ask the question, am I recognized? And how do I feel around this person? Because this person's going to benefit from my system, from the way I inject and guide them in whatever way you guide as a projector. Even if you're a mum, you know, that's not a minimal job, right? And you're still going to be guiding. You're still going to be telling them about life, right? It's still massive. Sometimes people are like, oh, I'm just a mum. And it's like, you're a guide. That's exactly what mothers do. They're totally guiding. If you're a dad too, same thing. But they're going to benefit. So you need to be making sure that the people around you are leaving you not drained, not exhausted, not feeling like you're smashing your head against a brick wall. And again, these things go for anyone. But for projectors, because they are very vulnerable, because they have no energy to maintain stuff, it is so, so very important. And it's why I do not chase clients. I text again, I leave it, right? That's it. Because I got the message, you're not ready. That's it. You know, you got all the energy in the world, got half, I don't even have a drop of that by comparison. And I'm chasing you? No fucking way. Have a great day. Erin Zen Warrior signing out. Manifestors, you have lots of energy, but not all the time. You spend it and then you recover. Do not gaslight yourself into having to go and go and go and go. You will burn out. Have a great day. See you all again. Please comment, like, subscribe, etc., etc. And I will see you shortly.